think we got a nice little focus there. Now looking again at this reference right here where my finger is, there's going to be a lot of light colors here. But even light colors have shadows. They also, yes, have shadows. We must impart those shadows too. So this I do believe is the brush we started off with. We'll keep this fairly simple here. We're gonna have umber and not a lot of thinner. And I know the question. I think Ninja, you asked about how much thinner and why it's looking a little less thin than previous one. Well, it is. It is definitely less thin. I don't want to say it's straight up out of my jars oil paints, but it's close to that. Now, if it's a really rough miniature and I gotta really just smush paint down into some areas, well, then I might add a little bit more of the thinner to it. Okay. Let's see. Do I have any raw sienna left? I just have to make my own yellow ochre. How do we do that? Well, we've done it before. We got yellow ochre. No, well, now we got yellow ochre. We took cadmium yellow and burnt umber, mixed them together. Poof. Now we got ourselves yellow ochre. It's expensive yellow ochre, but it's yellow ochre in a pinch. Because again, I never had time to fill up that container. And this is a little something different. It's going to be a little something different here. So, smushing all our paint and making sure all that primer's covered. And as always, it is Dino Res. The sand color or neutral color and the light flesh are kind of the ones that we're using here. Let's see. I have to talk the wife off the ledge. Okay. Well, you do that. We'll be here. We're painting Daenerys. We are painting Daenerys. Look what's happening, folks. What's happening here? You've never seen this before. As soon as I saw that gold dress here, because there's obviously you typically see her wearing white, right? Hey, Apollo, welcome back. How are you doing? You have not seen anything quite like this before. A little different, huh? Check it out. Yeah. It's shading itself, right? Now, in theory, if I'm working on a bunch of other Song of Ice and Fire, heck, maybe I just let this dry. Maybe I just let it dry like this and then go back over the top with some lighter colors. Sort of, where'd you guys go? Sort of like what we did here with the bones on our Ossiarchs, where this stuff dried twice because it took 2 weeks for me to be able to film these episodes, and I intentionally let the paint dry. So yeah, you can let your pre-glaze dry. It is okay for that to happen. That is not the end of the world. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to take some of our sponges here. I'm going to chop these up. Hey, Funkier Piece, how are you doing? Let's see, Prism Mike decided to ditch the rattle cans and get the airbrush. Yes. Now, for us, it's really nice that we can just brush on the primer, too. I mean, I got airbrushes. I mean, if I'm doing my usual priming 100, 200 miniatures, I'm definitely using the airbrush. But it's kind of nice to have the option of just brushing on the primer. But that's what I did with these guys. So, you know what I found is if I cut these sponges thinner, I'm really liking these sponges. At first I wasn't sure about these. Kind of liking these better. Let's see. Bourbon is your friend. Oh, and I think, there we go. I think thank you so much to our intrepid moderator. Now, let's see what happens when we remove. Look at what's happening here. Now I'm going to get a new sponge. New sponge. Yeah. That's a whole new version of the pre-glaze. Yeah, never seen this before. Look what's happening here. This is a whole new thing. This was a little surprise that I wanted to spring on you guys. A little bit of a surprise. I'll wipe some of this away. So it's not just a zenithal. It's a zenithal with color to it. It's a zenithal that has paint on it that we can use. See, I'm literally sculpting with these things. See, I'm taking look at this. Look at all these nifty colors, and I could put some violet in here too if I really maybe wanted to get some more colors. Ah, look at this. Look at what's going on here. That is very fun. And you see I'm going this way. It's almost like when we take our filbert brushes, right? Now we're kind of going against grains to get those lighter colors. So Apollo, I think, oh gosh, do I have any prime? Oh, there we go. Thank goodness. So here's another one of those just single color prime miniatures, right? What I did was I took different dark colors. So you see kind of we got this row of dark colors over here. You got things like a Van Dyke brown, indigo blue, and umber over here. Over here is Egyptian violet. So these colors, the idea is you put those on, you vary what's going on. Now you can actually go back and you can watch what happened here on our dragon. There was some purple over here. There was reds over here. More reds over here. And I think this was actually more of some purples in here. And the idea is that when you start to wipe these, oh, and umber's down here. And when you wipe all those things away, or some of it away, you have a color to work with. So first of all, you're tinting it, right? Because not long ago we had this. That's what we had. Now we have tinted it. Now we're going to start to add lighter colors like we did here on Dougie or Drogon, our wee little dragon. So I'm going to put him over here now. Well, we'll just leave him there too. Now, let's get our brush cleaned up here. And again, we are just taking a paper towel to it. No cleaner, no thinner, none of that kind of stuff. So when people talk about using gallons of thinner, this is what I have used for the last 3 days. Literally, this is it. This is the total amount of thinner that I have used. That's it. It's a cap of a milk jug. That's it. You are not using this stuff by the gallon or anything like that. So that's why I say don't be afraid to, well, it's not expensive, but sort of splurge a little bit on it. Now, let's add some lighter stuff. We're going to take a little bit of our white here, and we'll just chuck that over here. Maybe a little touch of our cadmium yellow. And let's go over the top of this here, because now this is going to mix with what we've already got here. Nice gentle brush stroke here. Nice gentle brush stroke. See how it's picking up some of that color? That's the existing color that's already there. But you can see there's more going on here. This is not just some dry brush here, because look how it's picking up that color. So if this was acrylics, you would literally just be doing a dry brush, and you would be getting that dry brush texture. But here, what we actually get is blending. And now we have something that we can work with value-wise there. And as we move it down this way, see how it starts to mix with some of that almost like a purplish color here? You see how it smooths itself out as it blends? Starts to get a little lighter down here. Look how much of that dark color that is picking up there. It's amazing. Now we're going to go in this. This is more of our cadmium yellow light. I just wipe a little bit of it on a paper towel to get rid of some of that. Again, the gold dress here. And also now we have almost the start of a kind of a ruddy skin tone as well, because we have some of that tan color in there. Yeah, the cloak here, I think I might want that to be maybe on the slightly darker than this. It can't all be light colors. Can't all be light. All right, we need something here. Skin tone. Terra Rosa, off-white yellow. Can't go wrong with that for a start of a skin tone. Oh, it's the orange. As I was slapping on all that dark oil paint and then wiping off with the sponges on the tops. Yeah, that's I just didn't realize that there was such a difference with the makeup sponges. Who'd have thought? Those crazy freaking sponges are so darn different. But I'm kind of liking this type of sponge a little better than the other one. I don't know. I might have to order that again. It's not like it was expensive. It was, I think it was $8 for 200 of them or something like that. Tops, maybe. So yeah, not exactly expensive. So now we start to get a little bit of the skin tone in here. It seems light. It ain't light. It's a long way from light. I mean, I'll put this next to our white there. It's almost as dark as that purple color. Seriously, not kidding. Not kidding. Let's keep going. Okay, I don't see any feet there. Let that be brown, and this can be certainly made much lighter too. Now I'm going to get, that's just 4 ounce and purple and umber here, and just whatever the heck this is, crown, bandana, not sure, could be anything. Could be just about anything. Now this is one of those sables I was telling you about, the 000 that we call the poor man's Winsor Newton Series 7. And they are from Dick Blick. All right, oh, I know what I can do. 1 second here, don't mind me. I'm just going to, okay. That, they show this is sort of like a red-ish belt here. So I'm going to take this. This is the same reddish brown that we used on Doug the Dragon. We're going to use that right here. It's translucent. This is the thing about the oils, right? Is that the oils are more translucent. Unless it has basically white in it, or unless it says cadmium in front of the whatever the other name is of the color, it's going to be translucent. That just, unless it's maybe Fanchon Red or Terra Rosa. Other than that, colors are going to be translucent. Now I'm also going to get some of this. I'm going to kind of make this cloak or whatever this is a little bit darker just so that I can have some contrast here. Maybe a smidge darker than what it would ordinarily, they would think of it as being. Now let's get some of the yellow out of this here brush, and we're going to do something like what we did, I think, with our dragon. Something like that. Where's my brush that I've been using here to get some of that, again, that translucent red color here, semi-translucent anyway, into here, over here, and these, so whatever those are, here, there's the other one. Okay, I'm looking again at my reference, and there's a kind of a lot of reddish gold in this. And actually this is, oh, these are feathers. These are like red feathers right here. All right, so nice to have that picture because I just thought that was some really weird shaped hair. What was the difference in the makeup sponges? So I don't have too many of the old ones left, unfortunately. Those were really, really, really soft, and these were really firm by comparison. They're almost kind of rubbery. Gosh, do I have any of the old sponges left? Let me see if I do. Okay, yeah. So I think you can see how flaky this sponge is. These are like the last couple of sponges. So see how really soft and smushy that is, and see how this is. I mean, that's as much. I'm struggling to compress it more than that. This one, I can totally compress it. Look at the difference in the two. And you can see how this is also more shreddy. Well, guess what? When I go over rough places, like these spikes with these sponges, it rips off parts of them. This sponge, that doesn't happen. Also, because this sponge is firmer, watch what happens. Watch this. So I got my scissors back here. Look at this. Look at that thin. It's almost, look at this. See how it kind of just, it can follow the miniature. It can literally be shaped around my finger. I can't do this with the other type of sponge. And look at this. I can really make a nice little triangle here, or look at that shape. I can't do that with the other. It's too soft. Too soft. Can't do that. But someone has called out the host with the most. She's like, whoa. Ride to ruin and the world's end. And she's like, yeah, screw you, AON. There we go. But thank you so much for the host. Hey, Mose, how are you doing? Let's see. I must have the shreddy kind. It leaves the texture in the paint. And every time I get these, I get sent a different kind of stuff. Like every time. It's always different. So, Mose, I don't know if you had a chance to see. We were working on Dougie here, otherwise known as Drogon. Doing all kinds of fun with the Egyptian violet and that quinacridone brown. No, quinacridone golden brown. This is Williamsburg. And by the way, apparently there's a sale on Williamsburg. Go get them. I am. I'm going to get me some, the last of the interference paints and maybe another iridescent. Don't mind me. I just needed something to drink there. Oh, let's get some darks into the face here real quick. In the form of some umber here. And then we'll go back with our lighter colors again, the usual. And remember, I was showing you at the top of the program here that knight, or that black armored dark sword figure. I'll show you again, because what we're going to have to do is almost kind of create some non-metallic metal effect like this. See that? We're going to have to do that if we're going to make this thing look like gold and shimmery, because literally if you look at the art of this thing, it's like she's wearing a sheet of metal or something. So we'll see what we can do. Here's some of our reddish brown again. Reddish brown. Not reddish brown, but reddish brown. I'm also going to cheat and throw a little bit of this into the cheeks over here. Skin tone. Well, let's see. What's all easier with oils? Non-metallic metal, object source lighting, freehand. Oh yeah, skin tone. Skin tone. It really is. I mean, I think you've seen, I know you've seen the vampire lady and stuff, and you've seen the, or look at all the crazy wild skin tones on there. And where is Mr. Elf? Where did Mr. Elf go? He's around here somewheres. And even, yeah, even this guy right here. We did all kinds of fun skin tones on him. You can see him on the YouTube channel. Look at that. And all those different crazy skin colors. Now, made some changes. Sorry about the interruption. Oh, thanks, Mose. Thank you so much. Here, let's get him put off to the side now. And we're going to get some more darks in here. Yeah, I'm going to throw some more of these reds. For whatever reason, they really, on the concept art here, really stoked up the reds in the shadow areas. Oh, and if you want to see a whole bunch of the NCUs painted, especially the Baratheon NCUs, look at the old highlights. There's also some on the YouTube channel as well. But we painted a ton of the we painted all of the Baratheon NCUs, I think, on the channel here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. And there you go. There's a link for you. Let's see, was there a name for the difference? Let's see, where's the bag? Well, this was the old bag which just says free, latex-free synthetic formula, biodegradable. I don't know what happened to my other bag. There it is. This other one says latex-free as well, but not biodegradable. The bag is way too big to get on screen, so, but they both say latex-free. I would imagine some folks have kind of a sensitivity to the latex. So letting a little bit of the darks get into the hair before we get back in with some lights. Now, we're darkening things so that we can lighten some things. Now, I'm also going to see if I can get a little closer to her here because I can't zoom in anymore. Let's see. Yeah, it all of a sudden it went from literally 27 degrees here to 70. It was like a 40-degree temperature shift. That's why Kathy and I have been having headaches, I would believe. I guess it stays warmer here. I really don't know. I'm not even sure if anybody knows. All right, now here's some of our, this is that fast matte white also. And let's dive into her hair if we can. Start to really get some juicy lights into this hair. Because I think that's going to, well, we know she's got to have the white hair and what, purple eyes or whatever. I'm just trying to figure out what to search to get the firm sponges. Ninja, I'll try and send you the link that I used because I just got these things in the last week. So now I cannot promise that you will get the exact same thing because what was the last thing I got? There was something else that, oh, the bottles. I ordered the exact same bottles from the exact same place and I got something entirely different. So just I can give you the link and you can maybe hope that they send what you think they're going to send. I mean, the other ones were totally usable. Remember, I was kind of worried that the ones that I got weren't going to work. And that turns out the ones that I got were actually maybe better than the ones that I had. Ooh, look at this. Look at that. So we set up these lighter highlights, right, with all that darker stuff. We set all that stuff up. Yeah, what you don't want to do is what Marty and I did, which was at sometime around 10:30 at night, march into I don't know if it was a Walgreens or something like that. And just remember that Marty looks like a far more fierce version of Mr. Clean, and I definitely look like somebody who has lived in a cabin for most of his life, if not all of his life. So the two of us walk into a Walgreens at almost 11 o'clock at night and stroll up to that counter and say, "Where's your makeup sponges?" So the two girls there just basically backed away and said, "Take whatever you want, just don't kill us, please." And that was a rather unexpected result there, but that's kind of what happened for our little search for makeup sponges. So maybe don't quite take that same approach. If you look anything like a mountaineer militiaman and a very fierce, nasty Mr. Clean. Because that was probably one of the scariest moments in their lives, I'm guessing. Oh, what they found? I'm sure they'll be okay. And if they're not, how much did you spend on them? No big deal. Just like these, even if I didn't really like them that much, I could make them work till I found something else. All right, let's do our lights on here too. Now this one is not going to be quite like the dragons where there's much more broad detail. We're going to have to really dive into some small things on this, and just because of the nature of the beast here, that there's some things we'll just have to paint in. Now, where's Craster? I still have him down here. No. And again, they're not designed to be like the characters from the show. So there's going to be a difference. I think this is Lady Val right here. Actually, I know this one's on the YouTube channel. I don't know if I painted up him either on the YouTube channel or maybe on one of the live streams here. But my goodness, I've painted hundreds and hundreds of these Song of Ice and Fire miniatures. Actually, more like potentially 1,000. Because you have to figure each unit has on average 12 guys. Some have actually 13. And I've painted several armies already. And by armies, I mean 5 units of 12 guys plus 20 NCUs and other things. So yeah, that right there is well on your way to 1,000, just one army. So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say we painted at least $1,000 as far as Song of Ice and Fire miniatures. Oh yeah, Moes, I get definitely a huge quantity of them. I think it was a few hundred of them that I just got off of Amazon. I think you can see how we've got that really bright highlight there. Well, now we have to start to bring in some yellows here. It's not enough to just have the lightness. Now we've got to have some color, some shading here. Now this has a little bit of the greenishness that I wanted, that I'm seeing in this here picture. Let's see if we can do some more with our yellows up here. Let's see what we can do with our yellows. I don't want to lose that green there. I actually have to go back in, believe it or not, and make that a little darker. If I can find the brush that I was using, hopefully this is the one. And I'm thinking actually umber and my yellow mixed together. I know that doesn't really sound like a green, but actually that brown and that yellow mixed together, yes, that's got some green to it. I want a little darker and more green. Van Dyke Brown should do the trick because Van Dyke Brown has more blue in it. Well, more green in it anyway, because what makes brown red and green? Bam! Just what I was looking for. Just the ticket. Let's do that over here. Let's get some of our greens into here now. We got the reds. And now we're going to shoot in some greens. Still haven't really figured out what's going to happen with that cloak yet. Don't have to right now. We got options here. We have options. We also need some other types of red or skin tones, and that's going to come in the form of, this is our brown here, well, our reddish brown anyways. That's going to give us more of a pinkish color because the Terra Rosa is going to be on the warm side. This is going to be a pink that has a little bit more, I think, of a cool color to it. Yep, sure enough does. And again, there were some mold lines that literally ran right through the arms here. So we do what we can. You do what you can. And it's letting some of this mix together. Lighten up the... We need to definitely lighten up the chin. I think I'm going to get some more shadows on the face here. This is more of a, I don't want to say magenta red, but whereas everything with the Terra Rosa is going to have that hint of orange to it, this will take it off of orange and just give it a little bit more of that pinkish color. And now we can go in with our lights too. We haven't done anything with the eyes or whatever. That's yet to come. I just want to make sure there's some shading in there first. Heck, I might even take a little bit of the purple mixed with some of our red here, a reddish brown. Anyway, that's that quinacridone brown, otherwise known as brown matter. So now the upper lip has a little bit more of a shading to it there. Now I'm looking for something to get into the shadow portion of the eyes here. And we got some umber here. It's almost kind of a grayish brown. So I gotta move one of my lights because I'm trying to look up on screen to see what you guys can see, and all I saw was a light blasting into my face. Ah, so she has of course white eyebrows. Yes, why not? So we'll have to really mess around with that. Okay, let's get some of our umber going here onto our little crown type of a deal here. Maybe even a touch of this Terra Rosa. Let's see, the Williamsburgs. That's going to be on the Dick Blick site there, Mose. I'm sure that's on the Dick Blick site because they got all kinds of sales going on, and that doesn't surprise me. They have I don't know if the Windsor Newton sale still going on. Alright, so I had to make that thing darker. That kind of just had to be done. Now, okay, let's do a little bit more with our Van Dyke brown into that yellow, and I'm just looking, this is it. And we'll go back in there with some of our white. Remember, we wanted this to really almost have like a metallic look to it. Well, what does that mean? That means it's going to have some really sharp contrasts, not just color-wise, not just value-wise, but even as far as linear goes. Then there's these crazy red-ish feathers, which I don't know if they're actually red, but I mean, we'll give them a hint of some cadmium scarlet here. What the heck? Again, never read the books, never saw the show, so we're kind of working at this from a little bit of a blind spot here. I do like my little reddish hints in there. Alright, what's going to happen here as far as a lighter skin tone? Now remember, we can go a lot lighter on the skin. We're going to take that off-white yellow. We're mixing that with our Terra Rosa here. We'll get up here onto the upper parts of it. Cheekbones. Forehead there. Chin for sure. Let's get ourselves some reflected light here on the chin over here. Yeah, a little bit here too. We'll have to do the same thing on the arms. Then we'll have to go back in and actually do some darks in a few places too. Oh, let's see. Not in the show. Her eyebrows are very disconcertingly dark. What I'm actually looking at, if you can see this right here, this is what would be on her NCU card. So if you're playing Song of Ice and Fire, you would have not just her NCU card, but all of her tactics cards. That's the word I'm looking for, tactics cards. Now, of course, you don't have to use the cards. You could use what is it called? The War Council app or something like that. Well, yeah, the game changes so fast that you're almost better off just sticking with the app and really, well, unfortunately, you have to use the tactics cards. That is one of my favorite parts of the game, is the tactics cards and all that, but they tend to go through some changes. Alright, so now I think we got some lighter skin going on here. We'll still go lighter than that. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah, the interference paints, they are not cheap. But remember, they are on sale now. So that's why I am going to try and get whatever colors are left. I'm going to try and get those tomorrow. Which, well, I guess it's not Wednesday yet. Wow, who would have thought? It's only 10:53 here. Let's see. Drax was able to find interference paints from Old Holland for less. I'm kind of sticking with the Williamsburg. Well, obviously on sale, but if I got all the Williamsburgs, and then maybe I get then I have more to compare with. I got a bigger sampling, right? That's the word I'm looking for. A larger sampling to go with. Now, what's going to happen with this? But that's got to stay. That can't get too much lighter. It cannot get much lighter than that. I will let a little bit of my cadmium scarlet work its way in here, but if this thing starts to get too light, oh, wow, yeah, not that light. I'll lose my contrast. So I just switched over to some Terra Rosa here. That's more like it. So it's lighter without getting insanely bright. Alright, we also are going to have to, a couple of things we're going to need to get is we're going to need to get some, oh my gosh, some really bright color in her eyes here. I'll thin this down as much as I can, but if I make it too thin, it might actually just kind of, it might not actually stick there. And I might even grab me, with that, I'm going to play around with maybe one of my old Series 7s here and see if I can condition this up. I don't know if that's going to let me do. I'm going to just play around with it here 1 second. No, that one's not going to let me do that. I'll just grab me a new quadruple 0 here, because we've been really beating the heck out of the old ones. And we will do a wee bit of a trim here. Let's see, are they also called interference? One second there. Bingo. That's all I needed. Let's do some eyes on here. We'll have to get some darks under her nose. We'll have to get some darks on the chin. And she does have purple eyes, right? I do believe, or some kind of lavender colored eyes. All right, we've got our darks in there. Let's see what we can do here on her lips. I want to lighten the lower lip here, but not too much. I don't want it to disappear, basically disappear into the chin. That wouldn't be very helpful. Okay, there we go. Just that little bit. A little bit does the trick, and we'll start to put some kind of a light here onto our sash, belt, whatever that just might happen to be. I'm going to look for some shadow in here. I'll take some of this Terra Rosa. It's relatively thin, I gotta say, this paint right here. It's not quite pin line wash thin, but it's near that. And that's it. See, I can see that nose a whole lot better. Before it was just kind of getting lost a little bit. It needed that little bit. And I think I can go now back in here with some of my light color. Let's get the...
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Let's get the upper lid here as we welcome at Little Legend 6. And Avocado says, he knows his nose. The nose knows. Windsor Newton are 40... okay, so there is a sale on Windsor Newton. All right, I wasn't losing my mind. And that sale is still good. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Skies Clear, for the info. Okay, yeah. See, now that upper lip has that undulation in there. Before it was just it was like an arc. It's like a big old arc. That was no good. Didn't want that. That wasn't gonna work. Is there a Lady Bee in the house? Hey, Lady Bee, how are you doing? Just claim our little highlight right on the top here. Yeah, and this is why we kind of break out. Sometimes I will just save some of the quadruple zeros, and I will only use them for stuff like this. But at essentially around $2.50 a piece, well, we say, you know what, we'll let some of these quadruple zeros kind of get hammered here. Now, of course, too, the other thing is, you just take some, even ones like this. After a while, even this one will get old enough to the point where it just kind of gets sacrificed for rougher work, and a new one takes its place. And more of that bright kind of spectral color, like sort of like what we were doing, almost on something that would be non-metallic metal. One second, I'm just trying to move my chair because my camera is a lot lower than it has been the last several filming sessions, so that means I am in a very different position than I'm usually in. Now we gotta get these crazy light eyebrows, don't we? Ah, okay, yeah, yeah, there we go. It's kind of all I keep thinking of though with all the blonde and everything. I just keep thinking of Eowyn. Well, that was something that I actually did sculpt. I did sculpt a figure of Eowyn back in the day because they didn't really have too much. Now there's the old metal figure of Eowyn. This is not her as Elf, not Elfhelm. Durnhelm, I think, right, was the name that she took as she rode out with the riders. But kind of like where she's at Medjugorje and she's kind of practicing with the sword and everything. There was an old GW miniature made of that. I don't know if I'm going to be ever able to find that. That would be a neat one. So we're getting some of our lighter tones here. Guess what? Just like on the face. Let's go back here. Take some of the, almost like it, well, here, let's get some of this umber and some of our red together. Like this. And let's just start to get, maybe we gotta do something that's darker, especially the fingers. Let's try to get some separation there. Let's try to have some shadow here. I think we got shadows there. Get, okay. Wait, I think we need to, it's gonna be tough to get in between these fingers, but this is what the oils let you do. Is just get really small. Get into some of these really tight spaces. I think I need to try and get some more of a skin tone in there. So we'll just, I'm gonna actually take a little bit of the, that's my cadmium sky. Ooh, wow, okay. That's some reddish skin tone now. That's one way to get some red in there in a hurry. And I think I need to do this because, well, this here, this that's going to have to get lighter, or this is going to have to get even darker up here. One or the other, because we want to show that whole kind of metallic-ish type of a thing going on. I was going to try and darken this a little more. Okay, we've done that. And you get this kind of a stipple technique, right? Let's see. I'll go back in. Oh, what the heck? We've got barite green sitting over here. Let's just play with a little bit of this, and it's still actually good from, which is hilarious because again our figures from last night, those are dry, but the paint on the palette's still workable. That shows you just how we were able to minimize the amount of paint that we put on the miniatures. You can see how important that is. Now look at that. See that green right there? You see that we made one part more red, we made another part more green. You can't get much more contrasty than red and green, right? Now, the consequence though is that can't be the only place where we put this barite green here. We got to find some other spots, and there's plenty. There's plenty, like here. See that? Plenty of other areas for this, like, oh, right over here. Once again, a green versus red contrast that happens now. Maybe even on here. I don't know. Well, we have to mix some more of this work its way in. Yeah, as much as we like value contrast, what do we got to do? We have to do color contrasts. We have to do saturation contrasts. But that was, see, it's reflected light, darker here, lighter here. That's a warmer green, cooler green, and you got your, well, kind of a middle tone red over here. So all of these different things really important to have. It's kind of side by side. Let's get a little bit of green up here too. Color goes somewhere. It must go everywhere. Oh, what the heck? We'll even let a bit of green get into those feathers. Let's throw a little bit of this onto her cloak. And nobody's going to look at that and say, oh, you just put green over there, because it's just not going to register as that. Yeah, let's get some of our green into here. Let's think about what's going on down here. What's going to happen down there? And I'm also going to set that particular brush aside since it's a new brush. How's about some yellowish green now? Because that might be interesting. We'll take the barite green. We got some of our yellow. Now we're going to get some separation here. Throw this down here, and now we'll... Where's Mr. Blending Brush? There you are. Let's get our... see, it's almost creating that same kind of amber color that was on Drogon. That's what I was kind of looking for here. Aha. You thought that was all just going to be a whole bunch of nasty colors there, didn't you? Oh, thanks, Lady B. Yeah, this is your Daenerys here, your Mother of Dragons. And of course, we've been working on Drogon, so you can see a lot of the same reds and the greens and everything else. Ah, look at that. But again, matching some of those colors right there. Oh yeah, the Bone Reapers, those I really did enjoy the heck out of those. It was so fun to be working on those, and that the interference blue. Now the next thing I've got, well, yeah, if I stayed up all night every night for the next year, I wouldn't be able to get all these things done. But at some point, I really want to try and get that turntable going and take just a video of them spinning around on the turntable, because then you might really get a chance to see the interference blue at work. You can sort of see it in the photos, but if that was to be spinning around, then you could really see the interference blue. So I'm hoping at some point to be able to do that, but man, there is so much stuff that has to be done here. Alright, where's Mr. Blending Brush again? Let's do that. Yeah, the interference blue, when you turn that stuff... Okay, here, speaking of turning things, let's turn this upside down. We got our blending brush, right? Got a big old nasty blob of paint over here, which we are going to... See, we're doing that little twist. Circular brush stroke. It's like a dual action thing, right? Twist it. Lift. Oh, look at that. All the edges went away. All those nasty edges are gone. We got a couple of lines right here. We want shapes, not lines. That's in the Book of Wappel. Shapes, not lines. And remember, this is a greenish yellow that we're using to basically highlight something that at this point is a reddish brown. Now we're going to double down on some of this here green. Double down on a little bit of that. Get that right here on the end of this robe, cloak, shawl. What are those? Saris? What the heck are those things called? Saris. I don't know if it's a little bit like that, sort of a super long shawl that's not a shawl, but almost like a cloak. It's got a little bit of barite green mixed with some cadmium yellow. And it's just enough to trick the eye into thinking that it's maybe not green, but there's just enough green in there to provide some contrast with all of the red. All right, cloak in there. What's going to happen with this part? I'm actually thinking, little Egyptian violet. A little Egyptian violet goes right here. Yet another little bit of a new color introduction, which means we'll spread that around. Maybe the end of these, yeah, the end of the feathers here. Oh, hey, Prison Mike, how you doing? Do we need to get darker on these? I'm just looking at these crazy little things she's got on her upper arm. I might just have to do something like that. I think I need to get some darker colors here. This is, again, it's our Egyptian violet here. And that's what we'll bring out our... There you are. It was the worst place it could possibly be. It was right in front of my face. And what we're trying to do here is maybe take this and pull it out this way, right? We got a line here. Can you see that? Yes, you can. It's a line. We're going to expand this line. Now look at this is more of a stipple brushstroke here. Look what just happened. Look at that. Huh? I'm telling you, you don't layer the oils, they layer themselves. There's no struggling with layer after layer after layer of paint. No, we don't do that here. We do not do that here. At least not with the oils. With the acrylics, well, that might be a whole different story. But with the oils, nah. Look what we just got here. We got some nice shadow under that. So it gives us a color. That's not just any old dark right there. That's purple in there. Purple, orange, tan, dull green. This is maybe a quarter of an inch. That is max, a quarter of an inch area. We got 5 or 6 different colors spread out over a quarter-inch area. Now, her dress is called a tokar in the books, in case you were wondering. Thanks, Prison Mike. That is help. Now, the feathers that she had, were they more like eagle feathers, or were they any kind of special color feathers? I guess that's the other thing I was wondering. Now, conveniently, we have purple sitting here on the palette, so this is where things get really interesting. We'll try and give her some eyes. Now, fortunately, Egyptian violet is a color that covers really well. You can get very thin. Boom. There's that one pupil. Give her a little bit of the eyelash thing going on there. And can we do this again on the other side? We're having her sort of look this way just a bit, kind of looking up and to the left just a wee bit. Ah, there we go. Now, even on here, it could be interesting to have interference colors maybe on her hair, or on her dress, or something like that. So when they ever get around to sending me my version of these, maybe we try something like that. So now we're doing our little bit of our Egyptian violet there. Now let's get some on this side, and once again, this brush is handy because I can kind of approach this from the side here. And I've really had to work around the hair and the crazy feathers. I will have to get some darks in here, in her hair. And we'll let that mix with that. That's some of our pre-glaze that's still sitting there. Now remember, this was a very different style pre-glaze. I think it was ReaperCon where we really started to experiment with I know there was the creature caster demon, but in some ways that was almost a crazy special case there. But with the ReaperCon weekend, that's where we really started to do more and more different colors with that pre-glaze. It used to almost be exclusively just, well, a bunch of different browns. And then that kind of became more than just a bunch of different browns. And it has really evolved. It's evolved a lot since then. Hey, Crispus, how are you doing? Oh, I'm glad, Crispus, that you're able. That was well. This has to get done. I mean, literally, this is a commission thing. Got to get done. But I figured that people might have some fun here, and of course, I mean, it's dragons. Who doesn't like dragons, especially little baby dragons? And the mom says, did you take any bits? Do I see any bits ran around on your?" It's like, "No, mom, I don't have any." "Yeah, what are you hiding back there?" He's like, "No, nope, not hiding nothing, mom." It's like, "Ah, I bet she's hiding something." Well, actually, well, I really shouldn't be so hungry right now, but all of a sudden, well, I mean, not exactly like a full-on dinner, but some kind of food sounds good. Heck, might even, if I still have one last ice cream bar in that freezer, I might just have that. All working on all the hot dragon and everything like that just might, maybe that's making me thirsty. Working on a fiery little dragon. Can't tell. There's nothing on the art there, so maybe that's a gemstone there or not. I don't know. We can try and paint that maybe as some sort of a gemstone here. We we have our cadmium scarlet, that could work. Under here, we throw in a wee bit of our cadmium yellow to that. Yeah, I'm hoping there's one of those left. Well, all kidding aside, it's an ice. It's well, here, if it's gonna be culinary, it's going to have a few very heavy themes to it. It's going to be either Polish or Italian, or actually even German or Hispanic. So a lot of the ice cream in the store, I can't even read it because it's in Spanish, but it's made out of pecans. Like there's actual pecans in the ice cream bar, and it has 90% of, I think, your iron or something, like whatever super vitamin-y thing is in pecans. It's in these ice cream bars. And when it was warm, I used to have one of those ice cream bars before I would do a stream. And well, the last few days it was cold and I didn't have one of those before stream, and noticed that it was I was yawning a lot more. So I don't know, whatever is in that thing, I'm gonna have to go look. Whatever is 90% of your intake of something, that must be, they must not be lying about their nutritional value calculations on that. Now I'm gonna let a little bit more of my cadmium red scarlet work its way in here, but I'm also kind of stippling this intentionally, kind of. A little bit like what was going on there, and we'll have to go back on him too, and do some more stuff on Dougie. But wanted to make sure that Danny had some stuff worked on her as well. I'm fairly certain when I was doing all of the Baratheon heroes, those were all in acrylics. I don't think we did any of the Baratheon heroes in oils. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. No, I think we did them all in the, like, the Reaper Clear and liners and the contrast paints. You know, I'm gonna get a little bit of this cadmium scarlet in here just to see. It gives it a little bit of a reddish tone. It's mixing with the skin color that's already there. It does tone that down as well, which is, well, not a bad thing either. And then what I'm going to have to do is, for these movement trays here, I will have to match the rocks that we have here, and that's going to be in the form of the bulletin board cork. It is really that much closer. Oh, thanks, Augur. Yeah, we'll go back and we'll mess with some details with him. I did want some of this to just have a chance to set for a little bit, and I thought, well, let's get to our Daenerys figure here while we can, and then jump on back to Dougie. All right, this has a little bit of our cadmium yellow deep in it now. Yeah, that this is better because the highlight that was there, that was just too plain. It was kind of it was a dead white. We don't want dead highlights, especially when you have cadmiums and stuff at your disposal, or even faux cadmiums. Yeah, no reason for dead highlights. Highlights that have no color to them. Highlights with no color, we don't like those. We want highlights that got some buzz. Ah, okay. That's something that I was kind of. Now we put our green in here. Remember that was the barite green and such. All right, down here we need ourselves some light down here. I want to let a little bit of my yellowish color get down in here. Oh my goodness, yeah, that can't just be that dark. We also don't want dead darks either. You just don't want something, okay, if you got a green cloak, if it's just a darker green in the shadows, that's not super exciting. And if it's just black in the shadows, that right there, that's a dead dark. That is DED dead. What you actually want something like maybe a really dark red. Not kidding. And I've done that on a lot of different lessons, even here on the Twitch channel and stuff. Doing a red cloak, I would actually take some darker greens. Why do you think we used the purple here? That was the violet over here. Let me see. So right now, because I think we're aligned on our daylight savings thing, right? It's got to be what, 6:30 in the morning in Germany and 5:30 in the morning in the UK and most of France, I would think. And it's still got to be early afternoon in Australia. What, 2:24, something like that, maybe? Nah, 3:24. That's my guess. I'll cheat and I'll use my phone here. What does my phone say? Come on, phone. No, nope, I was wrong. 4:24 p.m. in Melbourne. Sorry. What do I know? I thought I was gonna be right there. Well, what the heck? I was only an hour off. Now, Ms. Barron says 4:24 p.m. East Coast. Yeah, it would only let me have 3 time zones. Unfortunately, I wish I could have had more. If I could have 5 times, oh, there's a nice little dark in there. If I could have had, say, 5 or 6 time zones displayed on there, I would have loved that. Because all kidding aside, well, I mean, not so much. They're not wasn't able to really pay much attention to the Aussie rules football, but I kind of need to know what time it was in Perth as well, since the Bulldogs were always having to head out to Perth to be playing the Eagles, as this so well knows. And that, with the exception of once, that never really went well for the Doggies. So that purple right there, oh, look at the nice separation we've got there. And I think even some of our off-white yellow likes to go up against that purple instead of just another old brown. I mean, literally, this is a dark purple that we're using for all of these shadows right here. Yeah, you could just use a brown, whatever. Now, here's another case of brushes wearing down. So this is actually a very worn down 000, but you see, look how there's just like one or two hairs left. Oh, dear. Oh, okay, so you guys haven't done your daylight savings time yet then? Because in what, Europe does it first, then we do it, then you guys do it? Because Europe was ahead of us by a week, I think, on that stuff. But speaking of time, Stila has to go head off to work. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Yeah, like Lady B says, burnt sienna and just something alive, something. Oh, look at this. Look at this again. Here's a brush that some people would say, well, that's kind of messed up now. But with the oil, look how tiny we just got with the oils right there. So thanks again, Steel, for hanging out. Bam, look at that. Teensy, tiny, but of course it's the right paint. If we were trying to do this with the lighter color, remember when you get the white and stuff in there, the paint's just naturally going to be thicker. Here, paint is thinner because it is that darker tone. Even, I guess burnt umber is a little bit, it can be on the thinner side, but boy, nothing like, say, your crimsons. The indigo can be really nice and thin as well. Ah, the raw umber. You know what? That's the other color I got to mix. Now, ironically enough, I have raw umber in here. I mixed this up 3+ years ago. About 3.5 years ago, I mixed this up. Still good. Could still use it right now. I got to get it into my stupid dropper bottles because, well, I had it in there, but I think, oh, I was using it for pre-glaze all the time. So, yeah, that's why it ran out so fast. I think I've already had to refill my Van Dyke Brown at least once, maybe twice. Back into a little orange here. Oh gosh, I almost thought you said, was that World, what is that, War of the Worlds? That's, I was like, wait, is there a computer game or an RPG for War of the Worlds? Actually, an RPG for War of the Worlds could be kind of interesting. Now, I don't know what would be a more interesting version, the original sort of Victorian era, the Jules Verne or whatever, or would it be the radio broadcast era, the 30s era? Probably, I guess, the 30s era. Because it kind of goes beyond just. Now, I don't know about the 1950s one. That would be maybe a little too much technology, a little too much ray gun. Ah, like Drift says, as a survival game. Yeah, the 30s version. The 30, that a little bit of tech, but not too much tech. Yeah, no flying wings. I don't know, maybe somebody made something like that, unless I don't, maybe that you wouldn't be able to because of franchising or copyright type issues or IP or something like that. Now I'm going to see what I can do here on the side of her. What was it? The Torca? Oh my! Oh gosh, I forgot all about that one. I forgot all about that version of it. The one that I know the best is obviously the The 1950s one, I do believe that's when that was shot. And of course, Kathy and I, we entertain ourselves because the... Oh, good. It's still taped down here. Is there any of these lights I can get in front of the camera? Oh, what the heck. We'll just, we'll rip the tape off of this thing. It's not really doing much of anything. So here's one of the lights that I use for my camera, but it's like, whoa, whoa, you know, that kind of, that sound that the 1950s Martians thing made. Yeah, I would walk up to Kathy with that. We don't need fuzzies on here. I mean, just because, you know, you just take lights and, yeah, the War of the Worlds, I root for those Martians. Get rid of those pesky humans. Martians are way better at working water anyways. Oh, you know what? No, I'm not gonna. I was thinking of doing like a little bit of sparkly things here instead of it all just being smooth. Oh, what the hell? Let's see how it looks. If we don't like it, what do? We just wipe it away. Oh, let's see. I always thought it odd that with the awesome power and tech of the aliens, they forgot to check for germs. Pegasus makes some nice uh, War of the Worlds war machines. Oh yeah, let's see. What's the? Oh gosh, what the heck is it called? It's not Scythe, is it? That's not the one. There's one where I keep seeing all these kind of crazy, like War of the Worlds type war machines, and it's actually really neat artwork, but I don't know exactly what it is. Oh, they even make the gosh, you know, I don't even remember what the 2005 version looked like. I've completely forgotten that. Now the oh, you know what? Oh my gosh. Okay, the I did actually get some experience in the that Victorian era because there's that ship called I don't know, it's Leviathan or something like that, or whatever that ship is that basically rams one of the Martian walkers or something like that after being hit by a ray gun thing or something. And Drakenfell, the guy that does all the Navy stuff, he actually did a special episode on that ship because he actually did. He sat there and he tried to draw out what that ship would actually look like if it was a real ship. It was really tough because obviously the person that wrote that book was not really attuned to naval combat and how naval ships are put together in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, Drakenfell, he did a version of the ship that actually like I guess rammed one of the walkers and that was like in the English Channel or something. And of course, it was one of those hotel style pre-dreadnought ships. So I'm kind of that's kind of an interesting breakup of the texture there. I actually don't mind. Now I'm doing this. I'm gonna have to go back in there now with some of those greens. I'm doing all this here. Can't just be these, but yeah. See, I'm kind of that's a little bit of a cadmium yellow in there. The Thunder Child, yes. And his whole thing was the could the Thunder Child be actually have been built or whatever, or what would it actually look like? And he had all of this, you know, the most common illustrations of it, and he said, yeah, no, none of this is going to work. And he actually went in and he calculated weight, and he really tried to design it as if it was an actual ship. And that was great. Absolutely love that episode. Because Drakenfell has that sort of dry humor. And of course, we know his hatred for the hotel style pre dreadnoughts. He absolutely just, if you are French, don't listen to his episodes on the French pre dreadnoughts. Because he will probably upset your apple cart just a bit. Now, all right, we're talking about our green here. Let's not avoid that. Let's go over here. Let's get some of our berry white green. Let's dive in here. Well, first let's get rid of all this extra junk that we don't need. So we got our little dots that are yellow. Let's see what we can do with some of our almost Christmassy color berry white green. Yeah. Now see, it's starting to look a little sparkly here. Yeah. Okay. We'll do sparkly here. I just needed a different texture. It's all the same. They can't all be the same texture. I don't know. Textures are all the rage now, aren't they? Everybody's doing textures on stuff. Everybody's doing textures now. We should do some textures. Fairly certain I did some textures on some of those Baratheon heroes. Yeah, we were working on 3, 4 of those at a time in every stream. And you should be able to go back and catch those. Yeah, see see how that's adding a little extra sparkle in there? Yeah, that's all good. I'm good with that. Let's do some more of these greens here. And you see the dots vary in size too. Some of them are really, really, really small and some of them a little bit bigger. And this is, so again, brand new, quadruple zero. The last couple, we really, really pounded the heck out of those things. I mean, we used them up. Which means I'm probably going to have to be, well, when I get those Williamsburg paints, I'm probably going to be getting more quadruple zeros. But that stands out much more from our, see, look at how much more contrast is pretty much everywhere here. I'm even going to sneak a little bit of the green into a hair. Color goes somewhere, it must go everywhere. And, well, hair is part of everywhere. I'll get some more of my lighter dots in here too. What about on the shadow side of this? You can see it. Look at how much of that purple sitting there on the end of that brush. Go back. Gotta get some fresh paint here. We'll do. Ah, yeah. See, look at that nice little green interruption there. Now that's a little too much on the brush. Okay, this part here, I need to do some more. But if you look at that, whatever I've got on the brush, consistency-wise, is really similar to what is there. Now I'm going to go thicker. My guess is it's going to stick and bang. So what I had was whatever the consistency that was there, maybe I thinned it down or something like that. It was so thin, and this I thinned down to the same and didn't stick. I've changed the consistency. I made what I was putting on here thinner, and right away, poof, no problem, it sticks. Can it be frustrating if you go to put some paint on there and it doesn't stick? Yes, it can. Is it the end of the world? Oh, it's definitely not. You just go back to your palette, you make a slightly thicker or thinner version of the color that you got, and you're all good. Speaking of good, we are going to let Avocado Kids have a bit of a wee toast right there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that little drink of sustenance right there. Oh, I guess that is the next question is now I know last night you were trying to scramble together a stream right there. Were you going to try and do some streaming later on this evening? So this way people can know to catch you and well, hopefully the dreaded links of doom are all completed and you don't have to worry about those anymore. Ah, look at see that's even lighter. Ah, that is just what I was looking for. But that paint wouldn't have stuck there. No kidding. Paint would not have stuck there. Let's see. Onky, onky, charging. That should be a word for something. That just has to be a word for something because I make all kinds of mistypes and things like that, and sometimes we turn those into words here just because, well, I mistype not a lot of things, most things actually. Let's see. Do we need to? Let's get some of our. Yeah, let's go straight up white here. Yeah, boy, it's this is dangerous now. Just straight up white with nothing else in it. You want that to be really, really, really minimal. Yes, we are the galactic overlord of the great state of Wappelville, have declared that such provincial matters mean nothing in compared to our glorious oil paint. And oh, look at these. Ah, see, so again, waiting, patience. Always pay. Don't be hasty. Hey, paint miniatures. Nice to see ya. Yes, Avocado Kids, we are running a free zone right here in Wappelville, in the great state of Wappelville. It's like Hobbiton here. The affairs of outside our borders matter not. What matters is how is the green leaf doing? Is the pipeweed ready? And does it come in something bigger? Does it come in pints? That's what we all wish to know. But those couple of brighter highlights there on her arm, all the thing. Ah, that green leaf already packed. Now, oh gosh, I just all I kept thinking is Zorp his latest Lord of the Rings battle report. He added a whole bunch of graphics to it, and it was the battle at Amon Hen. And one of the things that the orcs could do was knock out the halflings, pick them up, and run away with them. And much to Zorp's surprise, Mr. Samwise Gamgee got himself knocked out and picked up by an orc. So he basically he did this graphic where you have the scene where it's either Merry or Pippin, whichever one's being picked up, and he superimposed Sam's face over that face, and he's saying potatoes as he's being carried away because, well, he rolled a bunch of ones and lost to a grungy little Orcai, and that was quality entertainment. So see, we got a little bit of our light right on the top there. Hey, Hobbies for Happiness, how are you doing? Yeah, you know what? See, we wish this came in pints. We actually did a little bit of an experimental mixture today, which I think we are going to do from now on. I think we will continue that experimental mixture. Let's get some more bright highlights here on the dress, if we can. Yeah, that's what, wow, really intense highlights here. But, I mean, the character just kind of calls, I mean, she's got white eyebrows after all. Somebody with white eyebrows is probably going to need some bright highlights. This usually is not the case. These are way brighter than any of the highlights on Dougie over here. So he's like, Mom, you got something in your hair there, Mom. Let's see. I'm good. I'm glad that you are doing well. I've got some really. It's not like last month I wasn't painting fun stuff. Heck, I was painting Witch Kings and Fell Beasts and all other kinds of fun stuff. But I think I got myself some really entertaining thing. Well, for me, anyways. You guys, maybe not. For me, they will be. That's hopefully the Shadow and Flame title for the month kind of indicates that some of the things that are yet to come. And there's a whole bunch of dragons for whatever reason this month. Lots of dragons, lots of demons. Quite the Thanksgiving theme. Actually, I've even I got the crazy. It was a Kanukamora or something like that. That the creature caster thing. Let's see if we can get some more lights into her hair here. And on the top of her cheeks. Yeah, okay. She's got a stern look on her face. She is, I think whatever them dragons were getting into, she is not super pleased about it. Augurbot wants to see all three dragons together. Let's see if we can do that here. 1 second. I think. Can we fit them all on screen? We can if I do this. So give me a second here to get to my camera controls. I think we can see them all now. Well, close enough. Close to side by. There's Reggie and Doug. There's Reggie and Vince. So there's Vince and Doug right next to each other. Nice little contrast between them. Yeah, that's not so horrible. Oh, thanks, Hubbies, for happiness. Yeah, so this has really been enjoying this little set right here. Now, what I am going to do just real quick from a visual standpoint, and we did this yesterday too. I'm just going to grab, here it is, just some black here, throw it along the edges of the bases because I think it'll be helpful from a visual standpoint here. Okay, that should be enough. Because I need to know how light those darks, literally how light the darks are here. And the only way I'm going to find out is to get some of this around the base. So I don't think I need to go, I don't need to go any lighter there. Actually, I might want to go a little darker on the rocks. I might just go a little bit darker. Now, as far as Daenerys goes, well, there's really nothing on her base. I know when I do mine, I'm going to take her off of that base and do something with it. But again, these are a commission thing, and commissions always have some form of restriction. There's, if anything else, just the fact that you're going to have to ship it. Well, these have to go to Malta, so fortunately, they're pretty much invulnerable when it comes to breakage. Thank goodness. And it was really interesting. Earlier today, I got to explain all about the strategic significance of the island of Malta in the Second World War to a person who was really curious when I told him where these are headed. Because I've only seen many, many, many documentaries about Malta. Yeah, see, I can even let a little bit of that black wander over the top here. There, there we go. I'm glad that I was able to just get that on there. Now, let's see. I'm brain getting to right now with setting up St. Jude for charity. Bum. Is there a numbskull in the house? Hey, numbskull, how are you doing? Now, okay, we'll do a couple more things on our Danny here, and then I think we'll go back over to Doug and do some of those final details. Now let's get a wee bit back closer here to our Danny. Is there a Baron's back? So Numskull, how are you doing? Yeah, we've been having really, man, these two are really fun. And look at, you see how there's kind of that cohesion of color there between the two. Absolutely having a blast with that. So what I'm thinking of, my first order of business is this area down here. Some more lights here because this is open enough it should catch some more light. Or we just do some more darks and make our lights lighter by adding more dark. Either way, one way or another, we will go back in. We also have our brand new quadruple zero at work here, which we did not have before on Dougie. So Numskull, I hope that, well, now that we're almost halfway through the week, I hope that was you've been able to get some painting things accomplished. Or for those that have 3D printers, we know Lady B's got her printers. Hopefully things have been accomplished printing-wise. I have still been slaving away trying to create that new area for the 3D printers. Well, it's kind of it's a dual-sided project because part of it is to create an area where I can film the playing of the Lord of the Rings games, but it's also an area with some sort of extra ventilation-ish type things to be able to 3D print. But it also means buying some portable heaters because something tells me it's going to be mighty chilly down in that basement. It can be. I've been down there. It's been 53 degrees down there, and that's when the furnace is working fine. Let me see. Those typos. I cannot type on a mobile. Oh, gee whiz, Jared. Yeah, you can't. Even with the stylus, I can barely type on one of those buggers. That's with a stylus. Now, this is straight up. Wait, I'm going to see if I cannot. Yes, I can. Look at that. I can actually get that a little lighter. Let's see if I can do the one on the other side of her head here. Yes, I can. So tempted to go in here. What the heck? I'm going to go in here with just the maybe about that. Hopefully that's not too light. But we're trying to get one of our little 2-for-1s here to separate eyebrow from eyelid with just a little dot of light. Okay, that's going to work. It has to be lighter though. Has to be. It's going to be right in here. Let's see. Temp's definitely a concern in winter with resin. Yeah, Arj. Well, I was wondering too if maybe some of the failures that were happening this summer was because it was just so insanely hot. Now, it was in the basement, so it shouldn't have gotten that hot down there, but it just might have been. And I had fans going, but still might have been hot enough down there. So I'm trying to kind of reset that whole area. Let's see, real estate is hard to come by. Well, it's the interesting thing is that I have the gaming table set up for filming. But filming and live streaming are two very, very, very different things. Because to film, all I need to be able to do is just have that camera hanging over the table in my hand, and that's it. No dice tray, nothing like that. Certainly no laptop attached to it. It's also attached to the hardwired internet. Now I'm adding some more of my barite green here. So yeah, to be able to actually live stream those games, I still have to drill that hole in the ceiling to get the internet down there. Because Wi-Fi ain't going to cut it, and I'm just going to drop a line down there. I'm not going to be buying any other crazy things. I also have to figure out my stream deck because I'll have to use that downstairs too to be able to switch from camera angles. Well, I had my resin in the garage in the summer when I got it. Oh, Arj, yes, I can imagine when because somebody was writing in one of the 3D printing groups and he talked about what happened and they said, oh, you either got a bad batch or temperature got it. You got bit by a temperature thing. Or a temperature slash humidity thing. Alright, so we've got our light sparkly thing. What about a few darker sparkly things? I mean, I know, what do you mean darker sparkly things? We'll take ourselves a little bit of our umber here, maybe mix it with Mr. Terra Rosa over here. Man, sure enough, I think that works. And you're going to say, wait, what about all the smooth stuff that you did there? Well, it's still smooth. It actually makes these little dots kind of stand out some more. Now, if you don't mind me, I am going to snag me a cough drop here before we lose too much of our vote. We're almost to Wednesday here. It's 11:57 here. Yeah, resin printers and resin itself likes those comfortable room temperatures. Yeah, that is a difficult thing to achieve here. Well, basically, again, in all uninsulated masonry houses, which are ovens in the summer and freezers in the winter, or in the case of spring and fall, they are both on the same day. Because I believe I can hear the furnace going off, yet it was 70 degrees today. Now I'm gonna say, yep, I'm gonna have to draw in some individual hairs here. Because again, with these figures, sometimes things get a little wonky and you have to sort of paint in some of the details yourself. When it's too cold, it's just not the right, oh, I can see that, yep. But I can also figure that that the super hot, super humid temperatures that we were having probably also were not helpful. Now the phone's about to go to its own person. Well, Zero, thanks so much for hanging out all this time, all 5.5 hours of the stream, or most of it. Thank you so much for the company, as we're just kind of having some fun here with Doug and Daenerys. Now, I remember the Friday show. This is our Friday show right here. Who knows? Maybe it's Thursday. Nah, I think we'll just keep this for Friday. Yeah, I don't think we'll make this Thursday, Friday. If I'm doing a Thursday show, it's probably going to be a Lord of the Rings-ish type thing because, well, it won't be a Balrog though. We're saving Benny the Balrog for later. But I just kind of want to do some Lord of the Rings things here. We got enough. Oh, actually, maybe. Who knows? Maybe I'm maybe sculpting converting some of those Riders of Rohan, regular Riders of Rohan, into Royal Guard. That could be fun. Oh, yeah, that barite green, it's just the most perfect thing. And now if you unfortunately can't really see on the reference here, but there was a significant amount of green in the art, but I thought, man, if I can really punch up the green here, I can really get some extra little contrast levels in this. Now, all right, what's going on there? That's not that's kind of weird what's happening there. One second, I just lost my brush, wherever the heck that thing just went. Ones that just kind of fell into nothingness here. I think, nope, that's not it. Let me just try to find that there brush. There it is. Nope, that's not the one either, I don't think. So give me a few seconds here where I try and locate that little brush that just fell off into Never Never Land here. Nope, that's not it either. Oh well. Not quite sure where that one went off to. Alright, I guess we're going to have to find ourselves another quadruple zero because that one just kind of fell into nothingness. And that is definitely not it. What I wanted to do before that happened was do this. Hey, Numbskull. Thank you so much for that. Here, let's get you a... Boom, he just pops up. He's like, you don't have any dragons. He's like, oh yeah? He's like, I don't see any. I don't see any dragons in. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get all the bits. He's like, what the... Uh-oh. He's like, nope. Them's mine. Apparently all the brushes are too. Let's see. Can I at least turn on a light here to find where that thing might have fallen off to? No, apparently not. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. The problem is when you have about 50 blue-handled Cotmans that are already around, and one fall... Oh, there it is. Yep, there it was. It actually landed about 3 feet away from where I thought it did. I got my brush back. Okay, 1 second here. We're also hooked on a... There we go. I think of all the people here, only Armored Wolf knows just how tight the quarters are here. There is barely any room for me to actually move here. Because all of the miniatures have to be within, well, everything. Every tool, every paint, every brush, every miniature that I use as a prop here must be no further than about 27 inches away from me, because that's what I can safely reach without either falling out of the chair or knocking something over. I'm going to do some of the... Remember we were doing some of the stippling there? Ah, Lady B, when you think of all the different colors in it, we got greens in here, we got the reddish brown. Remember our violet that we put in here? So much different stuff. And I think maybe with the acrylics, probably not too much on people's minds, because, well, it is more challenging to do that with acrylics to get all of these different tones, but with the oils, I mean, it's practically tailor-made. Well, it is tailor-made for it. So I don't want to say there's no excuse for not having more interest in your shadows and your midtones with oils, but there kind of is no excuse. There's kind of no excuse because the oils just do so much of this for you. It's like, wait a second. The oils are really doing all the work. Couldn't you just have spent a little bit of brain time there? Just say, okay, I know the oils can do this here. Let the oils do this over here. Just like that little touch of green. That literally is green. Looks like yellow. It looks like yellow because of everything around it. But it really is pretty darn green. Do I want... What the heck? I'll even let some of this crazy greenish yellow even get into the feathers there. I just don't know what the feathers are supposed to be. I was just looking at the art there again. I'm sure it's probably because there's some kind of light passing through the feathers. Now, also to the backdrop. When you're working, this is something for the commission painters that especially have to work from concept art and stuff. The concept art is going to have a colored background, like the one that she's on. You are painting that miniature in a vacuum. There is no background. And sometimes another thing that the concept art guys will do is to put essentially like some kind of weird background lighting like on the figure itself, which you can't do because you're not doing object source lighting. They'll just have like out of nowhere there'll be some kind of orange color that's reflecting on the side of the miniature because it makes their illustration look more interesting. Well, you can't do that because they don't want object source lighting on that figure. But they'll say, well, it doesn't look like the concept art. You say, well, it can't. So yeah, it's fun times. It can be really fun times. You just have to ask yourself how much of that is worth it or not. I know there was another longtime painter that was sending me some kind of unhappy messages because someone was asking them to paint things in very specific, well, not even super specific colors, but they were not used to such things. They pretty much have done either had free reign or they were just painting their own stuff most of the time, and they were not quite. They were like, oh man, this person's really asking me to do all this special stuff, and I went, yeah, that's known here as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We almost never get to paint things the way we want to. I'm going to try and sneak in a couple of more lights on her here. We did some of the darker stuff, but remember, the lighter color is always going to be thicker. It's even true with acrylic. It's not just an oil thing. That's why I like the Reaper Clear and liner paint so much. Nice, rich, dark paints that also let you do really nice thin lines. It's going to be interesting with the oils on the Lumineth, doing all of that freehand, which I'm going to be taking advantage of the fact that the oils will dry, and I'm going to be doing the freehand in a couple of stages, which should be really fun. Much like we did on our Osyarks, again, even the interference blue was done in a couple of stages. So where we put it here, we let the darker purple dry, and then we put the interference blue over the top, because we've noticed, at least that's something I learned, that the interference colors like to go over dry, darker stuff. I guess it's because I've used the color shift stuff before, and the color shift likes to be used over darker stuff. Now we're going to put ourselves maybe even some, wow, these will be really bright, but what the heck. I got some of my cadmium yellow light mixed with, sorry, with the off-white yellow. I'm going to do a couple of more sparkly things here on the little dress here, cloak, cape, whatever it is. Does it really matter? Almost like it's, I don't know, whatever would cause the little, not exactly sequins, but maybe some stitching, whatever. Okay, and let's do some, okay, that worked out pretty well. I'm going to do some more of that right here. It does break up that shape. Now, this is the artifact that can happen with the digital sculpting. Sometimes you get these sort of things. It's maybe a little bit more mechanical, whereas, say, the dark sword figures that are sculpted by hand, the cloth is going to be a little different. I mean, that's why we can always spot digital sculpting just a mile away. It's always really apparent because we have worked with so many figures, and still do, that are just kind of sculpted the old-fashioned way. Now, it's not a knock on either thing. There's a difference. There's bound to be. Do I get a little bit more of my lights in here? Yeah, what the heck. And that's a lot of little fun little dots going on there, and I think it does now separate this from that. Well, even here, yeah, the dress still weapons over here. Let's, you know what? Let's get some. Oh wow, I can get lighter there than I thought I could. I did not think there was that much light available to me. This not going to do that here though. Probably thinking the arm's going to cast a shadow on that. So that sort of makes it look like the arm is having an impact on the kind of the mini environment right here. There's the whole environment of this here thing, and then there's little micro environment. Ooh, I like that word, micro environments. We're always coming up with something new here. Something crazy, something new. Do we have enough of it? Yeah. And remember, we wanted this to almost be like non-metallic metal because again, we're looking at the where my big old thumb is there underneath the Song of Ice and Fire logo. Ah, what the heck? These are supposed to be feathers. Let's give them, they look a little like beaks. It looks kind of like Toucan Sam. So let's see if we can't give these things some kind of feather-like texture. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see this. And I think I can get, yeah. See, I can actually see the brush strokes there. If I tried doing that, that's why we went off. It worked on Drogon for, look at this. Yeah, you couldn't have seen, I couldn't have done those before. The paint just would have went blech. Quite literally, it would have made that sound. Or not. In any case, I couldn't have gotten any of these brush strokes to stick there. But look at this. It wouldn't matter how thick or thin I made that paint. It was never going to stick there. But now, boom, look at that. That's why we went off and started messing around with Dougie for a little while. Maybe we'll just sneak in a touch of lighter color there. So there is another example. We did this with the Corvus Cabal a lot, right? Because we had all those stupid feathers to worry about. Let's see, how do I know if my warms are too cold and my colds are too warm? I would actually suggest doing the film noir. Yeah, let's, well, first I'm going to make sure we got some focus on her here. Just to, well, let's bring up our brightness a bit, and now, zoink. And this is something, now you may not be able to tell when it's black and white like this, but now here we have a lot of variety, right, in our colors. And if I can just bring back a little bit here, ooh, that kind of looks neat actually. So we're at about 30%, we're at about 40% here. And we say, you know what, maybe that's how much it, or well, let's keep going with our color intensity here. Bring it up to where it should be. So when you see it black and white and then you bring the color back in, that might be an easier way to say, you know what, maybe that green is too green. Maybe that green is too intense. So that, I know I always go back to the film noir, but film noir has value. And that's kind of why it has value. Now here, I knew I had to get, see that green right there next, oh, okay, here we go. Let's do our film noir again. And what I think we're going to see is that these two colors are virtually the same value. There should be no difference between the lights and the darks. Let's see what happens. Pretty much for the most part, no difference in value. Let's bring it back. Bring back our color once more. Contrast via that color there. That's a pretty extreme green, but to me it had to be to make, because I couldn't get enough reddishness in the skin tone. So this had to be a little bit more zippy than maybe I'd ordinarily want that to be. I kind of was forced. That was the same thing here. So see, that's a cooler green because I couldn't make that skin tone any more red. I mean, look at this thing. The skin, unless she was like standing by a stove too close or something like that. So here I kind of had to push the limits of things. But well, here let's really focus on that area. Take away the color here, and look, it's all the same value, but then that color intensity comes back. Whoops, not that much color intensity. Now we have that contrast there. Those bluish greens are just what I needed. But maybe going back and forth like that, that would tell me whether or not I just kind of pushed things a little too far, or whether it was like the Goldilocks and we got them just right. Now, I hope that kind of answers the question there. I don't know if it does. Hopefully it does. I guess also, too, there is a purpose behind the placement of the warms and cools. I know we always talk about no gratuitous brush strokes. Ah, look, I'm getting some green up here into the hair. Why? Because there's just too much of the same thing going on. Ah, okay, that's good. That's good. Ah, see, I got some green over here. All right. So my brain was working the way it was supposed to. Ah, there we go. Yeah, a little bit more of our green in there. Oh, gee whiz. Let's get some of that over here. Now, again, that's rougher because weird mold line things happened over there. Boy, that's going to be too dark now. I'm going to go over here and lighten up that green. We'll lighten up our green. Yes, and we'll... Ah, look at this. Yeah, that's doing it. I like that. I know, and sometimes I just hope that the answers to these are not too much of a like answering a question with a question, I guess. Because I know sometimes I'll say that well it depends on the miniature, the situation, the paint you're using, all these different factors. But in some ways, what it does kind of help folks to go, oh, they sort of it's well self-analyzing that's a little bit kinder, I suppose, instead of that super critical self-analysis. And I know people, and in talking to them, there's folks that okay, that's good. Thanks, Baron. For to put it really kind of simply, there's folks that can't offer themselves constructive criticism. They go right to the jugular. I mean, they just go right to you stink. And it's like, whoa. And we can be that way, but I think for some folks maybe they're able to just kind of mitigate that a little bit and go, all right, I know what you were trying to do here. It didn't quite make it, but maybe and try this and it'll be better. And some people can talk to themselves like that. And then there's other people that just like take a pair of nunchucks right to the sensitive bits. That's like their first move for whatever reason, especially when they're doing it to themselves. Let's see. I'm similar to it has green and purple skin. I find myself trying to inject purple into the mouth and gums. I think I tried doing that on the one that I did as well. Now, of course, I had constraints because that was a commission thing, and it had to be done according to kind of what the person wanted. So there's always that too, and maybe that's another reason why the one person was super nervous because now before their critiques were their own, now all of a sudden someone else is asking them to do something they've never really done before, and that means well now we're going to be up against a critique of someone else who's not us. So here, look what's happening here. So there's almost some of that orangey red. Look at right back in there. Why is that back there? I don't know. I need something back there. Need a little something more. I'm gonna get to, oh boy. This is the other thing that, oh, check this out. Look at this. Look at all the green on this side and look at all the orange over on that side. That's pretty funny. I just now kind of noticed that. Gonna fade this a little bit more here. Again, using this as a blending brush today. Someone telling us our mini is not good, is not useful compared to, so at the Y. Yes, Baron, that's it. Well, all teaching centers around one word, and it's not how, it's why. Because like with the 3D printing thing, the people that have said, here, Jim, this is why you need to have your settings this way, or this is why the miniature is set at this particular angle, or this is why the supports are done this way, is immensely more valuable than anyone that says, here's how the supports are done. If someone tells me the why, I can figure out much more than if someone just tells me the how. So we add a little bit darker greens in here to really kind of enhance that non-metallic metal effect. So after how many weeks of that thing not working, it's finally working. And I did nothing. I gave up on it weeks ago. I have not touched that thing in weeks. Let's see, I guess you get that a lot in commissions, though. Now, of course, most of the people that I'm working with, I've worked with for years. So the person that I do most of our stuff for, we have been doing miniatures for him since 2004. Yeah, I think since 2004. So 16 years. It's closer to 17 than 16. Yeah, Baron, just to not mess around with things, I set all four to supermax, which is why you get some of the bullying stuff, and because there's just times where our moderator can't always be around. There was that legendary, what was it, a Monday? It was either a Monday or a Saturday. I think it was maybe a Monday, and our moderator had to go teach. Speaking of hows and whys, he had to go dole out some of his knowledge. Okay, there, just a bit. See a little bit right there. Ah, look at that. That's turning green. That is so fun. It's just like a glaze of something. I don't even know what's on the brush. Don't even care. Don't even care. It's all good. Oh, speaking of something that didn't have much on it, we gotta do something here with this crazy thing on her head. Don't even know what that is. But we can only do so much. There's only so many colors we can throw on here. What the heck? Let's go nuclear with a little bit of our fluorescent orange. We should do that. We are gonna do that. Bam. Ooh, that's good. That's something nice there.